To Simbright Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. In this class, I'll be teaching you how to make this kimono. So if you look at this dress, it's actually a kimono. This kimono is connected to the waistline, and the waistline has a band and it has a pleating running all over, and it's a wrap gown, a wrap top. So if you look at the sleeve, you can see the sleeve has an elastic band and it flows all the way from the waistline to the sleeve, just as it is right there on the thumbnail. Okay, so this part is I'm going to put my pin right here, or my press button here and here to hold onto the waistline. Okay, so the kimono runs from the waistline to the sleeve. So if this is what you want to learn in this class, please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So to begin this tutorial, you need your full front bodice pattern. As you can see right here, I've already drafted mine, full front bodice pattern. So this full front bodice pattern also has a band. It has a 2 inches band at this point. So now this pattern will serve as front and it will serve as back. So what I created here is my front neckline. So here I'm going to create my back neckline. This will serve as center front and it will serve as center back. Then if you see, you can see is a kimono. So I have my pepper added up, so I'll be able to draft the full long sleeve. So you can see it's actually very long. Okay, so now we want to start off this tutorial right away without wasting time. So normally this should be your shoulder, your chest line, bust point, although we don't need all of these, but I just have to make them, so I'll make this class very easy and clear. So this is my chest line, where I have my bust circumference, where I have my waist circumference. So we don't actually need these two lines, so I'll just cancel them all because there's no dots for this particular dress. So the neckline should be your natural neckline. Whatever you have as your bust, divide by 12, take it as depth and take it as width. So for the back neckline for this dress, back neckline is 1 inch by the same width. So I'll just connect the back neckline right away because we are cutting everything right here. Can you see? So I'll make or create the back neckline. So once that is done, the next thing we want to do now is to start drafting the wrap top. So this wrap top right now, I'm going to add 1 inch. Whatever I have as my neckline, natural neckline, I'll add 1 inch. So at that 1 inch, I'm going to come down to the chest line. I want the wrap to cross the chest line. Of that 1 inch, I'll just go ahead and connect the 1 inch to the chest line, and I'll run it to the waistline. Okay, so wherever it connects to the waistline, that is going to serve as the wrap kimono. So you can see where I connected it. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is to start creating the kimono. So to create the neckline for the back now will also be adjusted. Note that we have shifted the neckline. So you do what? You have a little adjustment to the neckline from that point to. So I've made my neckline adjustment. So we no longer need all of this neckline. We are going with this one. So for the kimono, we'll be taking the sleeve measurement. My sleeve measurement. So my sleeve length measurement from my shoulder here is 23. So I measure 23 So that is why I added enough pepper for it. So I added 23 inches. This is my 23 inches. So I'm going to add 3 inches extension, 1 2 3, because I want it to puff up. I want the sleeve to puff up. So at this 3 inches extension I added, I'll come down by 1 inch. So that 1 inch, that will be where this sleeve is going to start. So I'll connect it from this 1 inch to meet up what we have on this neckline. So you actually need a straight ruler for it. So you can see from this natural neckline, from the natural neckline, not the adjusted one, you do what? You use a straight ruler and connect the kimono sleeve. So once that is done, I'll come over here to measure my wrist measurement. My wrist measurement is what I have here. What's where the sleeve is going to be. Okay, so I have I'm working with 9 inches. So this 9 inches, I'll multiply it by 2. So if I multiply 9, I'll divide it by 2 and multiply it by 2. So because it's round and I'm working on half of the sleeve, so normally it should be divided by 2, which will give us 4.5. But because it's going to have gathers, I'll multiply by 2, which is 9 inches. So I'll just measure the 9 inches and I'm going to rule my line. So this is the wrist line for this kimono. So from this point, I'm going to connect this sleeve. Can you see? I'm just trying to freehand it as it is right there on the thumbnail. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm taking it to where? To the waist. You see? All of this space, we all need it. So I'm taking it to the waist. So at this waistline right now, there's going to be a band. There's going to be a band. So this is the band which I'm going to cut and join for back and for front. So this becomes my dress right away. So like I said, we are going to have front and back. So I'll show you how to go about it. We are done with the drafting. So but because there is going to be some pleats, if you look at the thumbnail there, you see there are some pleats or gathers that runs into this line. So I will extend this line right now with a broken line. So let me just use a straight line. So this what I have here, I'm going to pleat it back into this line. So here I have 2.5. So that's what I'm going to gather back. So of course when we are sewing it, you are going to see how this will be done. So I just want to cut right now. I just want to cut what I have now. So what I have now, I'm going to cut it this way. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to cut the back neckline first. So I'll just cut from this point to the back. I'm sorry about that. So I'll just go through the back neckline, then go straight into the long sleeve. So it's actually a very, very long sleeve, and it's going to have an elastic at the wrist. So this is it. It's going to have an elastic at the wrist. So I'm taking it from there to the waist line. Can you see that? Then I'll cut off the band. So that is how the dress is going to, the pattern is going to look like. So like I said, we are going to cut both front and back. So now I'll cut off this band. We are going to attach this band when we are done with the dress. So we are going to cut the band on fold. we have it a very long band running from the back to the front of this dress. So when we get there, we'll talk about the band. So people, this is it. So I'll cut the back first by folding in what I have at the center back. So that is why I didn't cut out this neckline. So once we are done cutting the back, we'll come over to cut the front. So I'll just quickly fold in what I have here, so I'll be able to cut the back. So I place this pattern on my fabric and cut. So I placed this part on fold. The back is on a straight fold, and I'm working with a Duchess fabric. So this Duchess fabric is 2 yards. Okay, so 2 yards of it, I place this part on fold. So I'm going to cut it out now. So on the waistline, I'm adding half an inch, and once I get to the sleeve, I'll add half an inch to the end of it. So make sure you secure with your pin. So this is what my pattern looks like, as you can see. So I added 0.5 inch seam allowance on the neckline running to the sleeve, as you can see. And at the sleeve wrist, I added 1 inch for folding the elastic. Okay, so we'll be cutting the front piece right now. So now we are done with the back. I'll open up and start cutting from that neckline. Okay, so I've cut it out. So this part, I'm going to pleat what I have here back. So that means I'm going to take note of what I have here and pleat it back. So I will advise you measure your waist, from your waist to this actual point. I have 10.5. So when I'm pleating it back, I'll pleat it back to ensure I have 10.5. So I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this now. Alright, so now this is what my front pattern looks like. So I have 2 pieces of it here. You can see I also added extension on the sleeve for my hemming and the elastic. And from the front extension, I decided to extend a little more, so I will have enough visible pleats. So you can see I added enough fabric and connected it to the neckline at that point. So I'll be able to pleat in on the waistline. Alright, so after we are done cutting the pattern, the next thing we will do is to come from the center front line and mark whatever the bust span is, divide by 2. So this is my bust span divided by 2. So at that point of bust span divided by 2, I'm going to make a notch. So I'm going to gather everything I have here. I'm gathering everything I have here, making sure it gets to the bust. I have that pleats running all the way from the bust span. So I'll just make a notch on the bust span. So when I'm pleating, I'll pleat everything to the bust span, still maintaining the actual length. So the actual length is from here to the overlap 10.5. So everything I'm going to gather here, I'm going to gather, making sure that I measure from here to 10.5. So that is the first thing we are going to do. So once I'm done with that, then we'll create a facing for this dress. So now I want to show you how to go about the pleating before we proceed. So if you note that this is where we had our notch. So I'm going to pick my pleats from that notch. Can you see? Just tiny snip of pleats. And I'm directing it to the bust area. Can you see? You can see what I did. So you have to direct it to the bust area. So I just picked a little of my notch and I'll secure with my pin this way. So this pin is going to be here as we stitch it on the machine. So I'm facing the pleats this way. So I'll pick up another smaller one I'll face it this way. Okay, so you don't go pleating anyhow, if not you will not have that desired effect. So I've made the second pleat, then I will make the third pleat. So there we have 3 pleats. So if you want to make more pleats, you can add more extension. Okay, so but you have to also consider what you had on the measurement, which we took as 10.5. so you can see how the pleats are. So by the time I'll give it a good press, it will relax nice and flat for me. Okay, so it's going to relax well. So we have about 3 pleats, so I'll keep it this way and iron. So I have the pleats right there. So now from this point you are going to measure your, that is the waistline. So we are going to measure our 10.5. so you can see we have, to the point it terminated, we have about 11.5. so I'll make one more pleat. So as you're making your pleats, please ensure you are taking your measurements so you don't run out of the measurement. So you can make 3 pleats, you can make 4 pleats. It depends on the kind of your measurement. So now I'm done with the pleats, although I will also arrange it better than what I have here. So I'll take my measurements again from here to the end. Okay, so I have about 10 or 10.5. now I have 10.5. so I will just follow a straight line and trim it off. Okay, that way. So we have our dress. So that's how to go about the pleating. So let me trim it off now. So now I'm done with the holding down the pleats. So this is what you'll be having. So I want to emphasize that the pleats you make, you have to face it towards the direction. You can see where I faced it. I did not face it this way. I pleated in this direction, this way, that way. Can you see? So by the time I iron it down, I have the pleats relaxing for me. So you see everything here is okay. And like I said, don't forget your measurements. As you are pleating, make sure you are taking the measurement from here to here, which is 10.5. Can you see? 10.5. So I'll now go over to the, I also pleated for this other side. So I'll go over to the machine now. I will turn it, because the pleating, when you turn it, is in this direction. So I'll sew from here at half an inch. Can you see? So when you are sewing, make sure it's straight like this, because you are going to cut out from done. You can see I just gave it a good press, so it has that pleated effect. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take my measurement from where we have the waistline. Please don't forget, you have to place your, in fact it's supposed to be 11 inches, because half an inch is to sew what we have on the facing. So I just keep it straight this way. So this is where I'm going to cut out from. So I just go this way. You can see my half-inch seam allowance. I'll direct it straight to that point. Can you see? So once I'm done with this, we are good to go. So I'm going to also do the same for this other one right now. Cut out the right one. So we are going to construct the facing right away. So for the facing, I've already cut a piece of fabric and I hasted it. So this is how I love to go about my facing. So you can see I've placed it on top this way. So I'll make sure I'm having the lines of the facing. So I'll keep pushing it to accommodate it. The fabric I have here is actually small anyway, so this is what I was doing. Okay, so I'll place it in a way that I have this straight line. Okay, so I can now secure with my pin and cut out the facing. So you arrange it, so if it's 2 inches, I can see through it here. So if it's 2 inches or 2.5, all of them has to be equal. So the down piece, you can push it a little so it will be equal. So I'll go ahead and cut following the shape. So that is exactly what I'm going to sew now. So I'll repeat this same process for the back, sorry, the other side too, and I'll do that for the back neckline also, then cut out the facing. So this is my facing right now. So I'll just lift it up, go to the machine. I'll face it this way, secure with my pins, then I'm going to sew and top stitch. Let me quickly do that. So I'm done with the front. So now I lay a piece of fabric which I hair stayed right side to right side for the back neckline. So I'll just secure with my pin. Okay, so I will measure the 2.5 because that is what I have on the front one. Or before I measure that, let me just cut out the neckline. So by the time I cut out the neckline, I can bring it out and cut out from the 2.5. Okay, so I'll take off the pins, then take off my pattern, then put them together, put it together and measure the 2.5. So I measure from here 2.5. I'll now curve it the way we curve our facing. So that becomes the back facing. So I'll simply come right side to right side, then I'll sew in the neckline, top stitch, then bring it back for the next stage. So we are done now, and this is the facing. I've given it a good press. Everything is looking nice and beautiful. So this is the back as well with its facing. So I'll now lay this back pattern piece. I'll pick one together. So I'll now go over to my machine. I'll flip this way. That's how I usually like to sew necklines with facings. So I'll now run my stitches to the end of the sleeve. I'll do the same for the other two. So we have the back and front dress. As you can see now, we have the back, we have the front dress. So I've joined it at the shoulder line, as you can see, and I've given it a good press. So the next thing is at this point where we have the sleeve, you know, the sleeve started from the waistline. So I'm going to turn it to the right side to sew from this point and this point. I'm going to sew now from here. I'll secure with my pin and sew the sleeve while I leave the waistline. I will leave the waistline because we are going to sew our band to it. So I'm going to sew from this point now to the end of the sleeve. Now I'm done with my sewing the down piece of it, and this is the waistline. Can you see? That's the waistline. So we left it like that because we are going to sew a band from one end to the other, we'll sew the band round. So to sew this band, I'm going to take the measurement of what I have on the waistline. From the beginning, I'll take my measurements this way, that way. So here I have 33 or 34, 33 and a half or 34. So my band right here, I have 34. I'll add 2 inches to it. That is 36. So the length is 2 inches added. You can see I have it at 36. So the width is 2.5 on fold, 2.5 on fold. So at the end of the day, if we sew half an inch, we'll be left with 2 inches. So I'll go back to my machine now. I'm going to sew close. I'll sew. So right now, I've sewn my band. I've closed the both parts right away. So I'll go ahead and sew this band. So I'm going to first sew this band starting from, this is the wrong side. So I'll place the band on the wrong side. Can you see? I'll place it right side to the wrong side. So we'll start sewing from here now. So this one I'll sew from here till I go around. So I've sewn the band to the inner part, so I'm going to flip it this way, just like you sew your normal band. I'll flip it this way, then tuck in 0.5, secure them with my pins. So I'm going to secure with my pins and sew right on top. Okay, so I'll just do that now. I'll sew them. Now in one part of the band, I have about 1 or 1.5 inch extension. This is the part that will go into the dress where we'll have our button sewn. So I'm going to sew now. So you can see I folded all my allowances. Okay, so I'm top stitching. So I'll keep sewing the band and top stitching till I get to the end of it. This is the band, and this one will go inside. I have about 2 inches right here. So this one will be, I'll put my button right here. Okay, so that is it as it is right there on the thumbnail. So the next thing is to come over to the sleeve area. I'm going to sew my sleeve right now. Then I'll be attaching my elastic. Okay, so I've already cut my elastic band, and my elastic band measures 9 inches in length. So I have them 9 inches in length, so I'll use it too. So now I've sewn my sleeve around, so I left a little opening to attach my elastic. I'll go through it this way. I'll keep going this way. So I've come back again to where I started. So I'll now go ahead and sew this to this, so it gives me that band. So that's what I'm going to do to the other side right now. We come to the end of this tutorial. So the next thing I'll do is to put a button here and here, or I'll put a hook or a hook and eye, then I'll put one here. So at the end of the day, we have our drapes. We still have the dress as it is right there on the thumbnail. So this is what my sleeve looks like. Can you see, with the elastic and the kimono? The kimono runs all the way from the waistline. So thank you very much for coming to this tutorial. If you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you for coming. See you in the next class. Bye.